Well, good morning and welcome to Coach's Corner on this, last Saturday before Christmas as we get ready. Merry Christmas to you, and thanks for joining us this morning. Let's head back to last night in a game at Bronco Arena. Nearly filled to capacity last night. What a crowd before the Muskies and the Bronco boys as the two teams in the end did not disappoint the crowd. Maybe some of the fans went home disappointed with the result, but if you were a pure hockey fan, what a game it was. The Fort got the scoring started in the first period on the power play by a power play goal by Sheldon Kelly at the 11:58 mark of the first period. Just a couple of minutes later at the 14:24 mark, Braden Dremel would tie the game at 1 with a power play goal of his own, and after some hard work behind the net by John Borger and Brendan Beneke. The score would stay 1-1 until the third period, but don't let that fool you, folks. The second period was full of action. The Muskies had 20 shots on goal. The Broncos 14 shots on goal. It was an amazing second period, but nobody could get past the goaltenders, and it went all the way until about 8 minutes left in the third period when the Muskies took a 5-minute boarding penalty, and it sure looked like with the Broncos having scored 3 times on a 5-minute power play the night before against Hibbing Chisholm that the Broncos would find a way to get things done. However, that is not what happened. The Muskies scored shorthanded twice. Matt Spence got the first one. Carson Noga got the second one, and all of a sudden it was 3-1 Muskies. That pretty much put the game into where it needed to be for the Muskies. Noga adds the empty netter with just over a minute to play, and the Fort Francis Muskies took home the new traveling trophy that's going to be given away between these two teams as they win 4-1. As I mentioned, both goalies were just playing outstanding hockey, and it was Darian Clem for the Muskies. He had 34 saves in goal for the Muskies in the win. Mitchell Nemec, who had 20 saves in the second period alone, ended up with 30 saves for the game. It was just one of those games, folks, that, like I said, maybe it wasn't as close maybe as last year's 5-4 overtime game played at Bronco Arena, but it sure had a lot of things going for it during the game. The Fort Francis Muskies are now off until January 4th and 5th when they travel up to Winnipeg to play a couple of games, and the Broncos are off until next Thursday when they will be over in Warroad for the Hockey Town Holiday Classic, and they will be taking on Osseo on Thursday, Grafton, North Dakota on Friday, and then they'll take on Warroad on Saturday, and Mike and I will be over there in Warroad on Saturday to bring you that game. Scheduled start time is 1:15. We'll be on the air just a little bit before 1 o'clock. Noah Mathis wrestled a couple of times yesterday in Virginia for the NKGIF, Nashwauk Keewatin Greenway International Falls wrestling team. He wrestled at 195 pounds. He got a win by pin and a loss by pin in his 2 matches yesterday. The Rainy River men's basketball team was down in Brainerd yesterday, and they played one of those barn burner games, as I like to call them. The Voyagers trailed 41-39 at half. It was tied at 88 after regulation, but Riverland comes back and prevails in overtime 109-101. The Voyagers had 5 players in double figures. Josh Jacobs led the way with 21. Cedric Harris and Trey Jones had 20 points each. The Rainy River women were also in Brainerd yesterday afternoon, and they made easy work of St. Cloud, winning 91-54. The Voyagers led by 21 at the break, were never threatened after that. Devon A. Gross had a double-double of 10 points and 16 assists, and Taquiana Gant also had a double-double of 20 points and 18 rebounds. Both Rainy River basketball teams are in action again in Brainerd today to wrap up their 2018 portions of their season. The Fort Francis Lakers also wrapped up their 28 portion of the season last night as they were at home against Thief River Falls. The visitors scored once in each of the 3 periods to defeat the Lakers by a final score of 3-1. Reese Hopner had the only goal for the Lakers. In boys hockey last night around the area, Moose Lake area defeated Legacy Christian 10-1. Bloomington Jefferson 4, Virginia MIB 2. Grand Rapids loses on home ice to Brainerd 3-1. Cloquet, Esco Carlton 5, Eastview 1, and Moorhead 4-1 over Greenway. And Grand Rapids and Greenway, they'll switch opponents today as Grand Rapids will take on Moorhead and Greenway will take on Brainerd this afternoon in games as they wrap up their part of the season before the holidays. Here, Warroad in girls hockey 7-0 over Duluth. Duluth Marshall goes on the road out to Thief River Falls, a couple of maybe the top teams in the state there. Thief River Falls wins 2-1 in overtime, and Brainerd over Bemidji by a final score of 6-1. In girls basketball last night, close one in McGregor. Carleton edges the Merck 66-65. East Central all over Renshaw 75-14. In a game between the number 1 ranked team in AA basketball and the number 2 ranked team in single A basketball, Roseville wins 76-75. What a game. I hate to say it. I wish I could have been there last night as well to watch that one. MIB had their chances, according to the newspaper article I read, missed some free throws down the stretch and had multiple opportunities to take the lead. Just could not do so. Duluth Denfeld loses to Hermantown 56-17. Black Duck 64, Hill City 46 in girls basketball. Aiken 54-38 over Staples Motley. Proctor edges gets the better of Badger Greenbush Middle River 51-36 and Two Harbors 55 and Ely 33. In boys basketball, Barn Burner in Hinkley Finlayson, they went 59-58 over Aiken. I had to throw this score in as I was looking through the scores this morning, folks. I know it doesn't have anything to do with the local teams, but Becker 101-97 over St. Cloud Cathedral. Come on, that's a high school game. That's 36 minutes, and they score 101. It's crazy. McGregor 53, Carleton 48. Crosby Ironton over Piers 66-56. Esco 82, Harbors 48. Barnum down Southridge 66-42, and Mesabi East 70-65 over MIB. The Minnesota Timberwolves went on the road to Texas to take on the San Antonio Spurs, and they absolutely laid an egg last night, folks. They lose 124-98. Andrew Wiggins was the leading scorer with 15 points. Remember the Wolves beat them by like 50 points here, 3 weeks ago? I don't get it. I can't explain it to you, folks, and I'm not even going to try it this morning. The Gopher men's basketball team, they defeated North Carolina A&T at home last night as Jordan Murphy scored 30 points, had 16 rebounds. The final score 86-67. With the win, that was number 100, the win for Richard Patino as the head coach of the Minnesota Gophers. Cretan Durham Hall's Daniel Arturo had his third straight double-double, as he had 20 points and 11 rebounds. A couple of bowl games last night, and for some people, who cares? Bowls, I guess, but here it is. BYU over Western Michigan 49-18 in the Potato Bowl. Florida International upsets Toledo in the Bahamas Bowl 35-32. 4 bowl games today, all of them in a row on ESPN starting at 11 a.m. Memphis versus Wake Forest in the Birmingham Bowl. Houston versus Army. George Frake, I know you're probably listening. You're going to be all over it. I know Army is on ESPN this afternoon at 2:30. George will be glued to the TV and analyzing things in the Armed Forces Bowl at 2:30. Buffalo versus Troy in the Dollar General Bowl at 6 o'clock. And, a little Hawaii, maybe late in the evening tonight, 9:30. Hawaii plays in the Hawaii Bowl against Louisiana Tech. What's going on locally today? Well, I mentioned the Rainy River basketball teams are down in Brainerd for the Central Lakes Tournament. That's it locally. The Wild are playing Dallas tonight at 7 o'clock. You can hear that game on KGHS, 12:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM. The pregame will start at 6:45. The Gopher women are hosting Rhode Island this afternoon at 3 o'clock. There are 2 NFL games on the slate for today. Washington at Tennessee at 3:30. Baltimore at the LA Chargers. That's probably going to have my interest at 7:20 tonight. Both those games are on the NFL Network only, I believe, if I saw my information correctly. So if you are an NFL fan, you got to have the NFL Network to see those. The Vikes, they're in Detroit tomorrow to take on the Motor City Kitties. I just like to say that, folks. I'm not trying to be whatever. It's just fun to say. And I hope that the Vikings make them the Motor City Kitties. Pre-game's at 11 o'clock and the kickoff at noon on your home for the Minnesota Vikings, K104. Timberwolves, after that loss last night, I hope they can go into Oklahoma City tomorrow night at 7 o'clock and take care of the Thunder there. I think that's going to wrap it up for the first part of the show. Let's take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk Bronco boys swimming, and we'll throw the divers in there, even though they're not here this morning. You're listening to Coach's Corner, live from Hardee's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Welcome back to Coach's Corner, joined by 3 members of the Broncos swimming and diving team. Just had to check my phone quick. I have great listeners out there that would tell me if things weren't sounding right. There's nothing on my phone, so that means things must be going well. Not maybe great, but well. I'm going to get it right here. John Slatinsky. I said Jake earlier. I don't know where would I even get that from? I don't know. Alex Bissonette, Gavin Wilson joining me here this morning, and guys, let's talk a little bit about Thursday's meet against Mesabi East. You got the first microphone, Bissonette, so you're going to get up. Plus, you were our post-meet game interviewee, so you might as well just pick it up and run with it here. You've had a couple hours to digest the meat. Are you still as happy with the meat 36 hours later than as you were on Thursday?
Yeah, there's not too much to complain about. Everybody had good times in the meet, and we may not have as many swimmers as we'd like, but we definitely try to make the most of what we have, and our swimmers are really improving this year, and I'm pretty excited for what's going to come up.
Do you feel it necessary maybe to go out and try to recruit to try to get some more kids? Do you feel like maybe you need to go find those 7th and 8th graders and walk up and kind of put your arm around them and say, guys, we're looking for swimmers here. Are you any good at it? Is it something you guys have thought about doing, or is it something maybe that you've done?
Actually, I'm pretty sure all three of us have tried that before. We've definitely gone out and tried to get more swimmers, and I don't know, just can't seem to get them in the pool.
Yeah, it's one of those sports, and I will say it this way: if you don't enjoy swimming, I can see where it'd be very difficult. And I know how many yards you guys get to swim, so it's a lot of hard work. It's something that I think is that his vehicle? Is that Coach? He's coming in. He's going to be here. All right, we get a chance to talk to him. I thought about one more thing that we talked about in the post-meet interview the other day, Alex, and so I want to address it. I talked about the toughest stroke to do, and you convinced me, or tried to convince me, that it was the butterfly. And so I've been thinking about it since then, and I think I have to agree with you. I've been playing it through my head and how things have go. The butterfly is the toughest one. Gavin, do you agree? You kind of shook your head in agreement. Come on in, Coach. Take a chair.
Yeah, I think it's the hardest one because I can't do it for the life of me.
Okay, so let me ask this question, because I'm not. Why is it the hardest one? Why is it the most difficult? Try to explain it to me, Gavin, and for our listeners.
We just gotta have good rhythm, because you gotta have the 2 kicks and then the pull, and you have good rhythm and everything. The
2 kicks. Now explain that to me, because here's again non-swimmer here. What do you mean 2 kicks? What are you saying? Give it to me. Well, Alex. You should take over because you're the butterflyer. You should explain it.
Well, so with butterfly, if you don't get your kicks down right, your back end might start sinking down and take in some water, and it wouldn't be good.
So for every time that those arms come around on the butterfly, there's 2 kicks in between. Is this what you're trying to explain to me?
That's what we go for.
Are there swimmers who can do more kicks than that? Coach, take the microphone. You got go ahead. Explain this, because I'm dead serious. I've never tried to do the butterfly, and from what these guys are telling me, I never will.
It does. It takes a little practice, a little. You kind of have to see it done, because explaining it is extremely hard. But
it's tougher on radio. Is that what you're trying to tell?
It's a full body kind of wave, and you kick down when your arms go in, or kick up, and then when your arms are exiting the water behind you, they're kicking again. So there's 2 kicks for 1 pull, kind of thing.
Slatinsky, you haven't had a chance to say anything. What do you want to add in here about the butterfly? Do you agree it's the hardest stroke?
Yeah.
Have you ever swam it in a meet?
Yeah.
Are you ever going to swim it in a meet again?
Probably.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Is he good at it, Coach?
Oh, he's getting great.
He's getting great at it.
These guys are really working it, and they are really getting that rhythm down.
I got into an argument with myself on the internet the other night. Is it swim, swam, and swum? When's the right time to use those? When I think I had a chance in the last minute to use all 3 of them, and I know there's probably grammatical people out there going, man, he's butchering this. He's making it look bad. But we'll move on. Let's talk about your part of the meet from the other night, Mr. Slatinsky. What went well for you, and what would you like to see yourself improve on?
What went well for me was probably I kept same time in my 500 as the previous meet. And, I can improve. What I need to improve on is I need to get my breakouts coming up from the water and my turns down. And once I get those nailed down,
I would think that in a 500-yard race with 19 turns, the turns got to be.
Yeah.
You can make up and lose a lot of time on those.
You can.
What's again, non-swimmer here now? What's the key to a turn? What is the thing that Coach or other swimmers tell you is the key to a turn?
swim hard into the wall and.
But not into the wall.
Well, when you're going into the wall.
Because there's people who have done that.
Yeah,
and that's not a good thing. I would guess. So in your mind, we're doing the free. Let's talk about the freestyle for the turn. How far away from the wall do you start your turn? What's kind of the magic number in your brain, your eye level? How close?
On the bottom of the pool, there's a tee
Yeah.
at the end. There's a black line, and then it comes to
That's
a
what that
tee.
thing is there for?
And that tee is 60 to 80 inches from the wall. Some pools it's a little, it's at 60. Some pools it's at 80. So you really have to swim first and practice a little bit and see where that is for that particular pool, but you use that as a guideline as to when you kind of start your turn.
So when you get there, you start turning. Okay, so now I've got to the blue line. Now I want to get into the turn. What? I mean, is it just as simple as doing a somersault? It can't be that easy. It looks like that's what it is, but it can't be that simple.
I mean, it's not that simple.
But
you got to have a little bit of a routine to it, where you gotta,
you gotta kind of
Don't take a breath on it.
Yeah, don't take a breath.
There's a number of steps to get into that somersault and a good flip turn. So we work on every little one step at a time.
Okay, I want to keep going with this. I don't know why, folks. If you're out there listening, you're going, why is he talking? Okay, let's talk about the backstroke, because it seems to me on the backstroke, I see guys and gals, from what I watched this fall, the turn over to the front to do the flip is getting sooner and sooner. Is there a magic distance when you're backstroking that you can flip over and do all that stuff? Gavin, he gave you the microphone like you should know the answer to this.
When you're doing backstroke, when you're warming up, you want to get your stroke count from the flags to the wall.
Okay.
So you know how many strokes you take before you flip over. And
The flags at mid flight down the stretch, down the straightaway. Okay. But then what happens when you come up short? Is there a time when you can get DQ'd for turning over too soon to get your turn? And I'm asking because Tim doesn't know. No.
There isn't. You can turn over in the middle of the pool as long as you can make it to the wall in one pull.
You get one pull with the free stroke kind of.
Chest is facing the bottom, one pull. So
You
could be out at the 5-yard mark if you.
See, these are why I ask these questions, because now I can go to a meet and I can look at it and go, that was legal. That's not legal. These are good things. Okay? Let's talk about the favorite event. There's 11 swimming events. 3 of them are relays, so let's throw those out. You got 8 individual events that you can swim in. What's your favorite, John?
The 500.
It is the 500.
Yep.
Why?
Well, I mean, Coach.
Besides the fact that you're pretty good at it.
Yeah, Coach threw me in it a couple years ago and challenged me a little bit, and it just became one of those events that's like, why not?
Okay. What's the event that you don't want Coach to put you in? Because when Coach came running out to the meet the other day and he posted the thing, you guys were over there like it was Christmas to find out what he had put you in, because I don't think you guys knew. So,
No.
So what do you do? What event don't you want to be in?
Oh, probably the 100 fly. Probably.
Coach is making notes. Saturday in Bronco Invitational. John swim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about for you, Alex? The one you want to be in and the one you don't want to be in?
If I could be in any event, it would definitely be the 50 free, short and sweet,
Okay. And the one that you don't want to be in?
The 200 IM.
Okay. I thought maybe you might say the 500. Why the 200 IM?
I don't know. It's not the easiest event, and that's about all I can say about it.
It's not the easiest event. I can understand that. Gavin, how about for you? The one you want to be in and the one you don't want to be in?
I would want to do the 200 free.
Okay.
And then I would not want to do the 100 fly.
I think like I said, I think I can understand that 100 fly. We talked about that and going there. So you guys got a couple of meets underneath your belt here, a couple duels. Now you got the invitational coming up. Coach, I'm going to ask you, at 11 a.m. does it start next Saturday?
Yep, 11
Okay,
a.m.
it was online. I wanted to be sure because I put it on the sign out in front of the school, and I'm like, well, it says 11 a.m., so that's what I'm going to do. How many teams are we expecting for the invitational next Saturday?
6.
6.
Yep.
So who's coming up? Can you list them off the top of your head? Us.
Probably not.
How about?
Probably Chisholm is the one I know that's not. Otherwise, it's Virginia, Hibbing, Grand Rapids, Eveleth Gilbert, Proctor Marshall, and us.
And Nomasabi East.
Masabi East.
And
yep.
Masabi East.
Yep.
So those will be the teams that are there. That's a pretty full day.
It is. Yeah.
It's going to be a packed place. So it's going to be run just like the normal meet. The diving will be in the middle, so there's a break.
It is. We moved the meet used to start with diving early in the morning and try to get some of it out of the way. But with the teams traveling from Duluth or far enough away, that just made it really challenging for them. And then, a van in the morning and then a bus for the rest of the team later.
Sure.
So we decided we're going to start it at 11, and then everybody can come at once, and we'll put diving in the middle where it's supposed to be, and the divers also get recognition as well instead
Sure.
of
Doing it way before when
and
there's
they don't
nobody
have-
there. And
They don't have their team to root them on, or
So
Yep.
that the teams that are coming up, that's a pretty large portion of the section, correct? It's pretty much everybody. So what's the number of divers? Because that's where I want to go. What are going to be the number of divers? Because I think last year it was like maybe a dozen. Is the number growing this year? I know you maybe haven't seen everybody yet.
I haven't seen the entries yet for
Okay.
that, so I don't know. I know there's a couple of divers from last year that are not diving this year.
Okay.
Personal reasons or
Sure.
academics. So we've seen that already, and so we're really not sure what the number is going to be.
The diving event the other night, I want to talk about it briefly if we can. Adrian Manassa and Robert Sweeney. Adrian, they both dove last year. Adrian's just a young kid, just ninth grader, right? If I remember right, just a young kid. He performed really well. And Robert Sweeney, oh my God, some of the dives that he attempted were just like, it was crazy. Is that part of the plan to get him to try more difficult dives and get him working on them earlier in the season so that when February rolls around for the section meet, he's got those babies down?
We've been asking him a lot. This is his senior year, so we're really looking at what dives do you want to do.
Sure.
Everything for me, for all the team, is what do you want to do? Because that's what they're driven on.
Sure.
So he's been kind of challenging himself on what he does, because in the years past, it's been kind of, let's nail down some of these easier dives. Let's get a 6 or 7 score. But we realize, hey, a harder degree of difficulty and a 4, 5 is way more points.
Yeah.
So, it is kind of a little strategy, and it's a challenge, something different. So.
And I would guess that as he has matured, as he's gotten older like this, those more difficult dives, just because of his sheer strength and everything else, obviously have to become easier.
I think it's that setting the goal and challenging yourself and then wanting to do something better than before. And this is last year, so now's the time. It's kind of like at the Chisholm meet, he swam a 500 free. Never swam it in the last 6-7 years. Wanted to get it off his bucket list.
Sure.
So he did. Very cool.
Yeah. All right. What the goals? Individual goals. Let's move to it's February. We're in late February. We're at the section meet. Okay, he's giving you the microphone, John. So you get to start it off here. What do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? What is the individual goals that you have set for yourself for this season?
My big goal, well, I've got 2 big goals, and I think I can beat the 500 team record.
Okay.
And make it to state in the 500. That's my big goals, and I'm going to work hard this season to achieve them.
So the other day you swam the 500 in, I don't remember.
542.
542. I was going to say 524, but I knew that it wasn't right. So 542. So what is the school record?
512.
512. So that means 30 seconds that you got to be taken off.
Yep.
You feel like that's possible from this point of the season?
I think it is, because last year I dropped about more than that, and I think I can do it again. I just got to nail those turns, and I got to just get them down.
Like the confidence. Alex, how about for you, individual goals?
When it comes down to section finals, I'd really like to place a little higher up in my 100 fly, and definitely get it under a minute.
Okay. How about for you, Gavin? What's the goals for February?
I want to be under 2 minutes in the 200 free, and probably about a 55 in the 100 maybe.
I got to go back and ask you because I thought about it and then something else came into my mind. Why the 200 over the 100 free? What is it? What is it about those extra 100 yards? I mean, I get it. Track and field. Some people are better at 800s than 100s and all that other stuff. Why the 200 over the 100 for you?
Well, I used to do the 500, and then I always thought that's a lot of yards, and then I always did the 100, and it's like, I know I could do more yards than this.
Okay.
And the 200 is just right there in the middle, kind of.
Fair enough answer. Coach, thanks for coming in. Gavin Wilson, Alex Bissonette, John Slatinsky, the fifth. I learned something else this morning. Thanks for guys for being here. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I wish you guys the best of luck as we go through the season. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. Whoop, Coach has got one more thing.
I was just going to say Merry Christmas and thank you for broadcasting our meet. That was awesome.
I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Some of the parents that couldn't make it commented, and
I appreciate
had much better appreciation than I was expecting for broadcasting a swim meet.
I'll say it this way. I had so much fun the other night doing it because every race was competitive. There wasn't a race that was like a blowout. I mean, every race was right there. It was a lot of fun to do. So I appreciate the comment here. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and we're going to do the 2018 year in review. You're listening to Coach's Corner live from Hardy's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. It's time for our 2018 year in review, and I know you might be thinking, well, you're doing this a week early there, Ring Offer. Well, you're right. I'm not going to be here next week. Will Heyer will be doing the show actually the next 2 Saturdays, so I wanted to get my year in review in, and so let's head back till about last February and March, the winter sports seasons. The Bronco girls hockey team went 13-10-2, and they lost to the eventual Section 7A champions Proctor Hermantown 2-1 in the Section 7A finals. Semifinals, excuse me. The Bronco boys hockey team, they finished their season 13-12-2 and lost to eventual Section 7A champion Hermantown, also in the section semifinals. The Bronco girls basketball team lost to Virginia in the opening round of the playoffs last season and ended their season with a 15-11 record. The Vikings girls basketball team lost to Big Fork in the round of 16 to end their season with an 11-15 record. The Bronco boys basketball team lost to Virginia in the round in the Section 7 2A quarterfinals and ended their season with a 10-17 record. The Viking boys basketball team defeated Cherry in the opening round of the playoffs before losing to eventual state runner-up Northwoods in the round of 16. The boys finished with a record of 3-22. Bronco boys swimming and diving last winter. Alex Bellinger finished third in the 100 butterfly at the Section 6A meet and qualified for the state meet. The Bronco wrestling team, after co-oping with GNK, had a season duel record of 0-23, although they got their first win here a couple weeks ago of this new season. The Rainy River women's basketball team won the Northern Division title last season and then lost in the opening round of the Region 13B tournament to end their season 17-7. The men also took first place in the Northern Division, and they lost in the opening round of the Region 13 tournament, and they finished with a very fine 20-7 record. In the spring sports, the Bronco softball team went 16-6 and lost on day 3 of the Section 7 2A tournament under first-year head coach Shelby Nosen. The LBF softball team went 14-9 and also was eliminated on day 3 of the Section 7A tournament and head coach Mike Imhoff's last season. And, of course, that reminds me, who's the new head coach, softball coach in Little Fork, Big Falls? Maybe somebody who's listening maybe could send me a text. That'd be great. Maybe Mike's decided to come back. You never know. Bronco boys, Bronco baseball team, they made it to day 2 of the rain-soaked Section 7 2A tournament. I don't remember. Started games, finished games in Wisconsin. They played a couple days in a row. They lost to Moore in the double elimination portion of the tournament, and they ended their season with a 10-11 record. The Viking baseball team lost in the opening round of the Section 7A playoffs to Ely and finished with the season with an 0-14 record. Bronco girls track and field qualified two individuals for the state meet as Emma Gilbert won both the shot and discus at the Section 7A tournament. Taylor Bush took second in the shot put at the Section 7A tournament. Emma took second at state in the shot put after being the state champion the year before. Two great seasons there for Emma in the shot put. Bronco boys track and field did not have anyone qualify for the state meet. The Bronco girls golf team won their third consecutive section title, winning by 49 shots. Kenzie Wenberg individually took second, Maggie Roeder third, Olivia Wright fifth, and Morgan Rasmussen sixth. The girls then took fifth place as a team at the state meet, as Morgan Rasmussen was the top finisher in 14th place. The Bronco boys golf team did not qualify anyone for the state meet. The Rainy River softball team had to cancel their season due to lack of players, and the Voyagers baseball team ended their season 20-17. They were the Northern Division champs for the first time, and they ended up fifth in the region. For summer sports, the Smoky Bear Invitational Golf Tournament had Dave Christensen shoot a 173 to win his fourth title in 6 years, and that also goes along with two runner-up finishes during that time. So in the top two, the last 6 years, Bob Mason won his fourth senior title in 5 years. The summer baseball teams, the Falls Junior Baseball team won the Northeast Sub-State Division II title by beating Grand Marais in the championship game, and then took fourth place at the state meet that was held in Monticello. The fall sports, the Little Fork Big Falls Vikings volleyball team lost to the Section A opening round, 7A opening round to Hill City, and ended their season 4-14. The Bronco volleyball team went 3-19, losing to Greenway in the round of 16. The Vikings football team went 6-4 before losing to MIB, who made it to the state semis, as the Vikings lost in the section semis to the Rangers. The Bronco football team went 3-6 and lost their home playoff game to Proctor in the quarterfinal round of Section 7-3A. The Bronco girls, Bronco cross country teams, the girls took 8th at the section meet, the boys took 4th. Ryan Ford was the lone qualifier for state, and she ended up finishing 120th at the state meet. The Bronco girls swimming and diving team had a 5-3 dual record under new head coach Ashley Goff. Whitney Gwynn qualified for the state meet and diving, and she took 32nd place. The Bronco bowling team once again won the North Central Conference regular season and tournament titles and competed at the state tournament. And the Voyagers volleyball team, they ended their season 8-18. They finished 5th in the Northern Division with a 4-8 record. Fort Francis football team made it to the Winnipeg League semifinals. They went 5-4 on the season. The Fort Francis boys volleyball team, they lost to Beaver Bray in the Norwassa Championship in 5 sets. The Fort Francis girls basketball team won the Norwassa Championship over Dryden before losing to Hammersholt in the NWASA Championship Series. And Emma Torasevi, and I hope I'm saying that right, for a cross-country runner for Fort Francis, she qualified for the OFSA cross-country meet as she finished 5th at the Norwassa. That's going to wrap up our 2018 year in review. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we'll come back with the week in review and look at what's coming up ahead. You're listening to Coach's Corner, live from Hardy's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Welcome back to Coach's Corner for our final segment. Let's quickly get the weekend review done here. Last Saturday, the Bronco boys hockey team went on the road to Kittson County Central. They came home with a 4-1 win as Dremel, Kaler, Wickland, and Glowacke all scored for the Falls. The Fort Francis boys hockey team got a 3-1 win over Beaver Bray as Mike Ward, Carson Noga, and Matt Spence scored for the Muskies. Darian Clem got the win in goal. The Fort Francis girls hockey team last Saturday lost 2-0 to Dryden and defeated Selkirk 2-1 as they played in the K-Town tournament. Izzy Taylor scored both goals for the Muskies on Saturday. The Rainy River women's basketball team improved to 2-0 in the Northern Division as they got a 106-50 win over Vermilion. Parisha Cox and Taquiana Kant led 6 players in double figures as they had 21 points each. The Rainy River men also defeated Vermilion. They won by a score of 112-67. Josh Jacobs had 16 points and 6 steals. Greg Barber, 20 points and 12 rebounds. No action on Sunday. On Monday, the LBF girls basketball team lost a barn burner to Kellier Northome 50-49. The Vikings, trailed by 11 at half, but they battled back but fell short in the end as Destiny Pekarski had 20 points and Emily Fairchild had 13. And while I'm talking about it, thank you, Don Pekarski, for sending me the text message. Jack Larson, I'll get it right. Jack Larson, the new head softball coach for the LBF Vikings. On Tuesday, the Muskie boys hockey team defeated St. Thomas Aquinas 5-4. They led 2-0 after the first, but it was tied at 3 before going to the final 20 minutes. But Peyton Avis scored early in the third, and Brady Bodnerchuk got the game winner as the Saints did close it to 5-4 with about 2:22 left. The Muskie girls lost to St. Thomas Aquinas 6-5. The Fort was down 3-1. They got it trailed 5-3 after 2. They got it to within 5-4 with about 5.5 minutes left, but they could get no closer in the game. Alex Gartsky, Peyton Kinnear, Savannah McGinnis, Izzy Taylor, and Abby Kenny scored for Fort Francis in that 6-5 loss. These same two teams will maybe be the top 2 teams in the Norwassa play again on January 10th, and we'll have that game for you on the air on KGHS. The International Falls girls hockey team used 2 first-period goals by Taylor Sears and Emma Erickson, and then they both scored in the second period to build a 4-0 lead over Evelyn Gilbert. And then the Golden Bears did score early in the third, but the Broncos win 4-1. Macy Marcotte had 19 saves for the win. On Wednesday, Jaden Ness scored his second goal of the game with 53 seconds left in the third period to force overtime, and then Colton Bodner scored his second goal of the game 36 seconds into overtime on the power play as the Fort Francis Lakers defeated the Dryden Ice Dogs on the road by a final of 4-3. On Thursday, we talked about the boys swimming and diving meet that was held at home on Thursday that I did on the internet. It was only one of 2 dual meets that the Broncos have at home as they hosted Mesabi East. The first 4 events went to the visitors to Mesabi East before the Broncos won the next 5 events. Adrian Manassa in diving, Alex Bissonette in the 100 fly, Will Serrano in the 100 free, John Slatinsky in the 500 free, and the 200 free relay also won. Final score of that meet, Mesabi East 100, the Broncos 76. The Bronco girls basketball team played a very tight home game against Deer River before prevailing by a final of 71-66. Grace Gilbert led all scorers with 33 points in the game, including 6 threes, and she scored her 1,000th point in that game in the second half. Congratulations to Grace. Chloe Sullivan added 20 points for the Broncos. The International Falls Bronco boys basketball team played a very interesting game in Big Fork on Thursday night. Don't know if you heard the details on this. The Broncos were down 19-5, then outscored the Huskies by 44 points over a stretch of about 18 minutes, and they led by 30 points with about 11 minutes left in the game. However, the press was put on, and the Huskies started making 3-pointers, and all of a sudden the Huskies were ahead 74-73 with 28 seconds to go. The Broncos get a free throw late to tie it at 74. They force overtime, and they win it in overtime, 91-81. I've talked to a number of people about it. They just can't explain it. It's one of those games that, well, that's why we keep watching sports, folks. It's what we do. Armando Barrios had 33 points, Max Olson 22, and Jace Helene had a dozen. The Little Fork Big Falls Viking boys basketball team led LaPorte 24-8 at half and went on to win by a final of 45-35. Matt Kennedy 18 points, Anthony Cipriano 11 for the Vikings. The International Falls boys hockey team hosted the Hibbing Chisholm Blue Jackets, and the Blue Jackets got on the board first about halfway through the first period, but then the Broncos just absolutely took over the game, scored 3 in the first, 2 in the second, and then got 3 goals on a 5-minute power play in the third to win 8-1. Max Marcotte stopped 10 shots in goal for the win, as Simon Palm had a hat trick, Kian Gonzalez a pair of goals, and John Borger, Braden Dremel, and Brady Wickland added the single goals for the Broncos in the win. The International Falls girls hockey team went on the road to take on one of the top teams in Class A, top 5 ranked Proctor Hermantown, and they showed why with the 13-1 win over the Falls. Olivia Wright scored the goal for the Broncos with an assist to Taylor Sears. Also on Thursday, the Fort Francis girls volleyball team defeated Dryden 3-1, and the Muskie boys basketball team defeated Dryden 74-52. Last night, of course, the Muskies and the Broncos played hockey at Bronco Arena. The Muskies come away with the 4-1 win, getting a pair of shorthanded goals on a 5-minute shorthanded situation, and broke a 1-1 tie in the middle of the third period as they beat the Broncos 4-1. Noah Mathis yesterday wrestled twice down in Virginia. He won by pin and he lost by pin in his 2 matches. The Rainy River men lost in overtime yesterday, 109-101 to Riverland, and the Rainy River women won 91-54 over St. Cloud, and the Lakers lost to Thief River Falls by a final score of 3-1. Rainy River men's and women's basketball team are in Brainerd to play games today. That's all that's going on locally today. Of course, nothing on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. Wednesday, things get restarted as the Bronco girls hockey team will be down in Blaine as they will be playing in the Schwann's Cup. I'll be down there on Wednesday. 5:30 start against Minneapolis, 5:10 the pregame for that hockey game. On Thursday, the girls will be playing again, and they'll play again on Friday. The boys hockey team starts their tournament in Warroad on Thursday as they play Osseo on Thursday. They play Grafton, North Dakota on Friday, and they play Warroad on Saturday. Also on Friday next week, we'll have the border battle in basketball as the Broncos will be down in Little Fork Big Falls to take on the Vikings. Girls varsity game starts at 5:45. Boys varsity game will start after the end of the conclusion of the girls varsity game. We'll have both those games for you on K104 and rjbroadcasting.com. And then on also the Noah Mathis will be wrestling on Friday down at Grand Rapids. And then on Saturday, as I mentioned, the Bronco boys hockey team, will be over in Warroad. We'll be over there to bring you coverage. Scheduled start time for that game is 1:15. We'll come on the air right before 1 o'clock for the pregame, and we'll bring you the game between the Broncos and the Warriors. And we also mentioned that the Broncos swimming and diving team will be at home on Saturday as they will have their home invitational. That starts at 11 a.m. That's going to wrap it up here for Coach's Corner this week. Thanks to Dave and the crew here for taking care of my guests. Thanks to our sponsors that allow us to do this for you every week. We appreciate being able to do this. I wish you, on behalf of everybody at K104 and KGHS, I wish you the merriest of Christmas, the happiest of New Year's, and we hope that the holiday season is special and, most of all, safe. We'll talk to you here in a couple of weeks. Good to have a great holiday season here. You've been listening to Coach's Corner, live from Hardee's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com.